Welcome back to the Relius Reviews. Today's review is focused on Animal Kingdom Season 5, Episode 4, entitled Power. And the official synopsis of Power is: Duran follows up on Smurf's will and loses patience with Jay calling the shots. Pope's mental state is fragile. Craig is forced to deal with being a solo dad. And I thought this episode, to me, it was just a fine episode. Nothing serious happening, but just potential things just being built up for later episodes. And here is my episode recap and my episode review. So the episode begins with a previous recap of what happened in the last episode. And then we see Duran, who is on the beach surfing. He's having a good time with himself until the DEA agent from this season continues to mess with him. He brings up Adrian, as it's been discovered that Adrian is talking to some of his family members and somebody has been sending him money. And the DEA agent suspects to believe that it's Darren who's been sending him the money. Long story short, the DEA agent warns Duran about doing that type of crap because it could lead to some serious consequences. And then jumps to Craig, who is taking care of his potential baby boy as Ren is away on a bachelor's trip. Duran stops by to talk, and the two is just talking about different things. And then it jumps to Pope, who is in handcuffs for having a weird episode of himself, just doing something that he should not have been doing. The cops already know who Pope is. He is taken to the hospital for a psych evaluation. Meanwhile, back at the house, Jay and Natalie spent the night together. Two had a good time, and then Duran decides to come in and just talk to Jay about different things. Their conversation is definitely tense. Like, Duran is definitely showing signs of being a potential hater because of the moves that Jay has been making. And long story short, the two visit Jay's bowling place. Jay shows them his vault about different papers, different things that's in the vault. And Duran basically forces Jay to give him the vault code for obvious reasons. So then we get a flashback scene, and it's Smurf and Jake having intercourse. Pope watches them very weirdly until Julia basically stops him from doing so and tells him how that ain't right. That's just weird, to say the least. And so we get back to the regular times, and we see that Duran is trying to talk to Pete about different things that just leads to basically nowhere in life. Like the conversation, nothing special. So then Pope is basically placed on a emergency hold where he has to talk to the doctor in order to be released from the hospital. And then Craig decides to pick up a surfboard that Ren has ordered, and he decides to talk to the surf shop owner, and those two kick it off, talking about just different things and everything else regarding. And so then back at the hospital, Pope is just talking about the doctor, about his childhood and the day that Smurf was killed. And you can definitely tell that that memory of Smurf getting killed is still just rewinding in his head, just back and forth like a tape machine, because he just can't get that out of his mind, just seeing his mom just get killed like that. And the doctor asks him whether or not he wants to stay for 24 hours. Pope shockingly agrees to that. And then a cop visits the house and tells Jay about where Pope is at because of what he was doing. So then Craig meets up with Frankie, as he is not happy that Frankie has talked to Jay. Those two eventually agreed to a new deal that was previously made with her and Jay. And then Craig basically warns Frankie to stay away from Jay. And I forgot to mention that at the meantime, back at the bowling shop, Duran somehow was able to find Pam's information from Jay's hidden vault. And so we get another flashback scene of just Smurf and her gang at a party. Smurf talks about a potential new job that they can possibly do. And the job is robbing a bank's ATM machine that's known to have cash, thanks to a relevant tip from one of Smurf's friends. And at first, the boys are definitely not with it because they don't have enough manpower to do so. But then, long story short, they eventually agree to rob the ATM machine. Jay visits Pope at the hospital and the two decide to leave just like that. Meanwhile, Duran finds Pam's location, and this is the very first time we get to see Pamela in today's time, as we see Pamela mature, and it seems as if that Pamela is already well off, because to me it looks like she may be rich in some aspect. So then the two eventually talk about Smurf's estate, about the house, and just anything else that's just important. And the conversation, it starts off somewhat okay, but then it eventually leads to nowhere until Pam kicks out Duran from her house. So then we get another flashback scene of just Smurf and the gang breaking into a bank and robbing an ATM machine. They eventually blow it up, and a long story short, her friend came in as it was definitely filled with money. And so we get a regular scene again with Jay and Natalie just busting cheeks in the bathroom, and Natalie inviting friends over at Jay's house, having a pool party or whatever. And Jay, he is not happy because she didn't tell him about her friends. And so one of Natalie's friends talked to Pope about different things. That just leads to like nothing happening and everything. So then meanwhile, Craig decides to get a bunch of kids to get as many scooters as possible, and he has them all destroyed with big trucks with just big tires. Crazy to say the least. And then we see Duran entering the house. Duran and Jay talking, nothing happening. And then Pope, he is still off one, still just feeling all types of just different emotions. So the episode basically ends with just Pope coming at Jay for killing Smurf, which is just really weird to say the least, as Smurf was about to kill you, but whatever. Like I said, this episode, it was just fine. Nothing special about this episode. And I would say some of the things that I enjoyed about this episode was, first and foremost, was the fact is that we finally got to see Pamela in today's time. And we see that Pamela, she seems as if she is already well off and may already have some money saved up or whatever. But I definitely believe that Pamela will become an enemy of the Codys because of just Smurf's estate, the house. Like something is going to happen with Pamela and everybody else. Duran, he is definitely acting like a hater because of the moves that Jay is making. Like, I am really not starting to like Duran at all, because I don't understand why he's hating at Jay, because Jay has been making moves to help the family out, because Smurf's loss is definitely noticeable in this season, as the Codys, they're somewhat struggling with paying bills, jobs, making money. Like, the Codys are definitely struggling. And we see that Duran and Jay are definitely going to have some issues within this season. Natalie, it is still too early to tell with what type of person Natalie is, whether or not she's going to become the next girlfriend of Jay, or is she just stupid as Nikki or crazy as Mia. Like, it is too early to tell, but only time will tell with that. Pope, I don't know what's going to happen with Pope. He is really off one. Like, I know that he is upset that Jay killed Smurf. Some of the things that he's been doing this season has definitely not been smart by any means. And I have a feeling that some of those decisions that he has made is going to come back to bite him severely in the butt. And I would say another thing that I enjoyed about this episode was the fact is that we got to see more of Frankie, and I can't wait to see what Frankie has in store for the Codys, as they're going to need the help that they can possibly get. But cool episode, and Until next time, goodbye.